Here we go, everybody. This is Mother's Day weekend, in case any of you listening don't remember. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so I hope you all treat your moms beautifully every day, but especially tomorrow. Or today, if you're in our family. Anyway, you can't really hear me yet. So I'm talking to the vast... All right, let's do what we do every morning before the sound comes through, which is to tell you that you can find our podcast every day of the week at 9 a.m. at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com/live. You will find Lenny Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. You'll find me doing Saturday baseball on Saturday. And on Sunday, you have the Lady and the Legend, which me and Lenny get together for a great old time. 9 a.m. and our chat room is phenomenal. If you like to interact with other baseball fans, you can always join our chat room, and you can find that at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com/live. You can sign up, or you could join as a guest. It doesn't matter, but we definitely like you to sign up. It doesn't cost you money. We don't spam you. We don't send you stuff. We just leave you alone. And then that way you can join us in the chat room and get involved with all the fantasy baseball knowledge in the chat room. Sound is good. Thank you, Danny Fuller. It's wonderful to see we have 10 so far, but I know how you guys like to stroll in after the bell. Boston Paul is here, watching from the airport. Great to see you, Boston Paul. Chris from Cambridge, thanks for the great compliment the other day. It made me feel wonderful. Eddie Heckman, love to see you back. Eddie Heckman, Teresa Heckman, and the whole Heckman family. Danny and Penny Fuller, Captain Danny, back in the chat room. James K, beautiful James K from the cold state of Wisconsin. Laura, my friend Laura, and Mary, great to see you on this beautiful Saturday. And I will say this before I continue on with the chat room. I talked to Laura earlier in the season. We text sometimes, and I said to her, it really sucks. Both of her, I was in last place in 2 out of 3 best ball leagues. I was in last place. And in the other best ball league, I was second to last place, and Laura was in last place. And so I texted her and said, man, this sucks. I mean, first of all, there's nothing you could do about your team in a best ball. There's good to that and some pretty annoying parts to that as well. You just set it, forget it. You don't get to make moves, and there's nothing you could do to get yourself out of the basement except for hope that your players come back. Malpal, great to see you. And Tina, great to see Tina too. So Laura said, she wasn't worried, and she reinforced to me that she had won a league last year or the year before where she was in last place until June, and she was able to win that league. So the season is not over in the first couple months. And by the way, a lot of the reason that our teams were doing so poorly is that we started the season with several players that were just out. I can only name a couple from my own experience, but I had TJ Friedel, Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Lowe. I had Montgomery, Sonny Gray, Justin Steele. Now I have Luis Robert on the injured list, but a lot of my players are coming back, and I think that speaks for Laura too. Let us know in the chat room, Laura, but both of us are moving up in that league, and I'm proud to say she was absolutely right. And women usually are, by the way. So that's the way it is. It's great to see all of you in the chat room. A lot more came. 18 now. Malpal. Turd is here. Welcome to the Turd family. Timothy, my hooker. Who else, Leonard, below that? Leonard Donaldson is here. Tommy Johnson, the most positive guy on Facebook, is here. Great to see you, Tommy Johnson. And a guest cast of thousands, Leonard?
Cast of thousands.
Okay.
Leonard Donaldson.
I said hello to the Houston Astros fan, Leonard Donaldson. Good morning to everybody. Let's get rocking. Former San Diego Padres third baseman Sean Burroughs died at 44 years old on Thursday. What a sad story this is. He was at his son's youth Little League baseball game, and you remember Sean Burroughs. His father was the former number 1 overall pick and 1974 American League MVP Jeff Burroughs. Sean Burrows drafted in the first round in 1998 and played 7 seasons. Just a sad situation, and of course we what are you supposed to say? We send our regards to his family, and what a tragic situation, especially having your son there watching. What a just horrible situation. I don't even like to talk about these, okay, but Lenny slides them into his tidbits, so that's what we got. And Laura says, yes, getting those guys back is key, and she got hit hard with injuries. SM King Turd was talking to Laura, and they were talking about how slow. They were talking about the fact that they had injuries and also the players that are starting the season slow. You just have to keep playing if it's not a best ball league, and that's absolutely true. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm moving up greatly in the best ball leagues. I'm still struggling a little bit in my NFBC leagues, and there's a $350 league that I love in that NFBC format where I'm really trying hard not to finish last. And I've moved up from 12th to 11th now. And I'll tell you what, I look at my team compared to these other teams, and there's no chance that I finish this league in the bottom third because my team is just too good. I have a lot of players on that team that have been injured, such as the ones I mentioned earlier. But I'll tell you what, getting Justin Steele back, and yes, Lenny would say, well, this Jordan Montgomery, Sonny Gray, and Justin Steele, these guys aren't going to win you a league. And I firmly disagree with that. These guys are steady Eddies. They're not flashy. They're not throwing 100 miles an hour. And with guys like this on your team, let's just hope. I mean, one of these guys, I think it's Sonny Gray, signed with the dang St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know if you could sign with a worse team right now. They're just such a mess. And I know there's a couple worse teams than the Cardinals, but it seems like the Cardinals are doing what they did last year, which is bottom basement dwellers. Okay? All right. Chris from Cambridge says that Adolis Garcia really is mimicking a young Sammy Sosa right now. Danny Fuller, Captain Danny, tells us Sean Burrows was from California. 1992 and 1993 Little League World Series. Interesting tidbit. How can you keep forgetting to set your lineup, Boston Paul? We go through this every Friday. Okay? Set your lineup. It's not like, Boston Paul's, he's the only one doing worse than me in a 15-team league. That means I'm 14th and he's 15th. And I hate that league. I won't be playing in any more of those leagues. I've come to figure out now that I'm playing all these different types of leagues, the ones that I really love to play are 12-team with 6 bench and no injured list. So if you have an injured guy, he just counts as one of your bench players, but then it gives you an opportunity to make moves every Monday. You can also pick up and drop players that you need to. The 15-team leagues, I do a lot worse. I'm sure a lot of people do a lot worse, but I just prefer the 12-team leagues over the 15-team leagues. And this one that Boston Paul is in is a draft and hold. It's different from a best ball in the sense that you still have to go in there and set your lineups every week, even though you're stuck with the same 50 players all year long. How annoying is that? Just give me the 50 players and let the computer decide which is the best lineup. That would be my choice. But when I go in there to set my lineup every Monday and Friday, I'm annoyed as heck because I have too many players to sift through. I end up using the tool on RotoWire for the best lineup because it's 50 players. It's like, okay, you got a bunch of midwits and some of them are doing excellent and some of them are just, there's going to be ups and downs and peaks and valleys. Anyway, I'd much rather have the computer do it. If I'm going to have that many players, just let the computer decide everybody's best lineup and we'll go from there. That's just my preference, so now that you know all about me, okay? By the way, it is Mother's Day today in our house because Mark has a biological mother that is not me. But you know, if any of you know me out there, you know how much I love and care for Mark, just like he's my own kid. So we always celebrate Mother's Day on Saturday, and we let his real mother have him on Sunday. The Cubs activated outfielder Seiya Suzuki from the 10-day injured list, and then they went around and placed infielder Dansby Swanson on the injured list. But they did retroactive that to May 8th. He's got a right knee sprain, so those of you who are Dansby Swanson guys, I'm included, he's injured, okay? Now, also, another guy that is not in my notes, but I will bring him up while I'm thinking about it. Boston Paul was so annoyed this morning because he just picked up Luis Rengifo. The guy qualifies at multiple positions, and he's been on a tear lately. All of a sudden now, he has some kind of illness. They don't say what it is. But he spent the whole week sitting, and now they put him on the injured list, and he will be inactive until next Saturday. So yes, if you have Rengifo, you're going to have to replace him once again. And I'm not saying drop him. I'm just saying he is not active. So look, the whole point is you probably picked him up because you had some other middle infielder sitting out, and then you put him in, and now he's out. So now you got to find someone else to drop. I wouldn't drop him. I actually had drafted this guy. He is useful for fantasy. So there's my little pitch on Rengifo or Gifo or whatever. You know who I'm talking about. Logan Gilbert, okay? Now, the Mariners' starting pitching is already very good, okay? But he, in his fourth season, currently has a 1.69 ERA. He's ranked 5th among all Major League pitchers. In 7 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run or fewer in 5 of those starts, and 50 strikeouts against just 13 walks over 48 innings. He also has a batting average against of 152. That's the second lowest in the majors, and his whip, .79, ranked 4th in the majors. And that's not just among starting pitchers. That's among all the majors.
Dad's a premier, White Sox out.
Dad's a premier, great to see you. White Sox out, good morning to you, friends. Great to see you all. Luis Arias, okay? A walk-off hit. Let me hear what you think, Malpal and Tina. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, we always talk about the stupid-ass things that the Dodgers and AJ Failure do. Let's talk about one thing that they did great. I mean, they literally did the best they could to go out and replace what Tony Gwynn used to give the team as Mr. Padre. And I'm not saying that Luis Arias is going to replace him. Obviously, nobody can. But Luis Arias is an amazing on-base machine. And no, he's not flashy, but this was an excellent trade by the Padres for once in their lives, right, Malpal? Let's see what he did. A walk-off hit, right, in his Petco Park debut. There was a huge pitching duel in San Diego last night between Glasnow and Michael King. 14 innings pitched between the two, only 3 hits allowed, no runs, 5 walks, and 21 strikeouts. Now, Michael King allowed 2 hits and 3 walks. He struck out 11 over 7 scoreless innings. He only allowed 4 runners to reach base, 8 strikeouts over his first 3 innings, and he ended up missing out on the win because Yuki Matsui allowed the game-tying run in the 8th inning. So King got ripped off from a win. You know, Michael King was not very good in April, but he's excellent in May with 13 scoreless innings, a 3.67 ERA, a 1.31 whip, which is not great, by the way, 54 strikeouts to 24 walks through 49 innings over 9 appearances, including 8 starts this season. The Padres, what are you trying to do, Danny? Okay, he keeps posting pictures of those stupid uniforms, or those Connect uniforms that the Padres get. Where do they come up with these uniforms? They're just the worst. They're pink, they're blue, they're yellow, they suck. I think that's what Danny is doing. I think Danny Fuller, the Dodgers fan, is trying to make fun of the Padres City Connect uniforms. That's what I think is happening. Okay? Let me know, because I have to agree with you, all right? They suck. Do you know who has the best City Connect uniforms, in my opinion, is the Tampa Bay Rays. They have the Rays on a skateboard, okay? Now, I did read what the meaning of the skateboard was, but I forgot about it. All I know is that those are some great-looking City Connect uniforms. Another team with some great-looking City Connect uniforms are the Phillies. Now, of course, all the Mets fans would say that the Mets have the greatest City Connect uniforms, but I am not a fan of those. They're dark gray. They have hardly any purple on it. The reason that they used purple was because the train that goes to Citi Field is the purple train. And they have great City Connect hats with the bridge on the hats. And the Yankees just aren't as good. But I'm telling you,
Big Al.
or maybe it's the Yankees with the bridge on the hat. I get them confused, but I'll tell you what, the Mets City Connect uniforms are not what all the Mets fans think they are. They kind of stink. They're charcoal gray. I like colors, and whatever it is, it's just my opinion. So we're talking about all kinds of City Connect uniforms, and that's exactly what Danny Fuller was doing.
Yeah,
So, all right. Big Al, great to see you. Big Al coming up in best ball. I noticed, and I posted on X yesterday. Big Al is moving up like crazy and actually is the best in the league since April 1st. So, good job, Big Al. Just keep it going. Next outing for King is penciled in. He's got a favorable matchup against the Colorado Rockies at home. Okay, next time out. Now, Glasnow allowed 1 run on 1 hit and 2 walks while striking out 10. He did 7 innings, and he also got a no decision. There was only 1 hit against him. It was Luis Campusano's solo home run, and it was the 4th time this season that Glasnow has struck out 10 or more batters, and it was also the 4th straight quality starts for Tyler Glasnow. Are we surprised that Tyler Glasnow is pitching great? His ERA is 2.53 with a .86 whip, 73 strikeouts, 15 walks, 57 innings in 9 starts. Now, one thing I'll just have to have you say. Okay, yeah, the Boston Red Sox are pretty ugly too, all right? They look like the damn Ukraine flag, all right? I'm sorry. Boston, what are you trying to do? Maybe the Boston Red Sox, what are they trying to do? Please tell me some meaning for those City Connect uniforms other than Ukraine flag. Please tell me that there's something. Okay. Now, one thing about Tyler Glasnow, and I know none of you are going to listen to me because none of you ever listen to me when I tell you to trade a guy that's doing so good. Glasnow is not going to make it through the season at this pace, all right? His workload will be something to keep an eye on. He has never pitched more than 120 innings in an entire season, and it's always due to injuries. He's projected to make his next start in San Francisco, and while I think that Glasnow is clearly right up there at the top of the best pitchers in baseball, there's no chance he gets 200 strikeouts. Did he do that last year? Did he get 200 strikeouts in 120 innings? I'd like to know that. Because all of a sudden, the love, I remember as soon as the season ended last year, we talked about Glasnow, and I was like, don't forget about Tyler Glasnow, man. He's going to come back. He's going to be pretty good. He's coming back from Tommy John. And he was good. And then all of a sudden, Glasnow just became like this fantasy. His expectations are in the world of fantasy land. Okay, that's how I want to say it. The expectations for Glasnow and where you drafted this guy, you better trade him off to get something for him. He is not going to last. If he goes to 200 innings, you could expect him to not pitch next year at all because he's going to be hurt. 120 innings is the max that he's ever pitched. That's all I'm saying. And none of you will listen to me.
Kenny Flammy is here.
Beautiful Kenny Flamia is in the chat room. Great to see you. And he's not listening to me. I don't blame you, Kenny Flamia. Neither is Turd. Neither is Malpal. Neither is anybody that's smart. None of you are going to listen to me. And that's okay. I don't blame you. You're not going to listen to me when I tell you to trade off Mason Miller too, and I don't care if you need his saves. You trade him for a less flashy closer and an extra hitter because he's another one that's about to throw his arm out. All right. Now, this is the first time the Dodgers have played 6 straight games of 2 hours and 25 minutes or shorter since 1977. Danny, I know you've gone to a couple of these games. Are you annoyed or are you pleased when the game only lasts 2 hours and 25 minutes? I would say in the middle of the day, it's probably nice to have it last only a couple hours, but maybe you like to drink beer longer than that. I mean, they stopped selling beer at the 7th inning, so... how many beers can you have if they're already cutting off so much time and they don't sell beer for 2 hours or 2 innings before the game is over? Obviously, I like to drink beer at the games. Now, the Dodgers have a 7-game winning streak, but Dave Roberts ran out of high-leverage relievers, which is something in short supply for the Dodgers these days. The only MLB game in the modern era in which both starting pitchers, which we're talking about Tyler Glasnow and Michael King, went at least 7 innings with 10 or more strikeouts and 2 or fewer hits allowed. So definitely a pitching duel yesterday. I love the Astros ones. I think it's wonderful. Those Space City, I think it's delightful. Okay, I think the Space City ones are delightful. Definitely. Okay, those are from last year. Show me what you got this year. The Dodgers do not lead baseball in home runs. I will tell you that right off the bat. Eddie, guess who leads baseball in home runs? I'm going to leave that one to my friend Eddie. We can't get through one Saturday baseball without talking about Trevor Bauer for just a moment because he's doing excellent. And I'll tell you what... Trevor Bauer, here's the translation from the Mexican Baseball League, which is called League, it's LMB, Ligue de Mexican Baseball, or something like that. Anyway, this is translated from X. They posted yesterday, one more night at the Bauer Chocolate Factory with 13 strikeouts in 7 innings. He takes first place. That team takes first place against the other team, and the pitcher of the game was Trevor Bauer, and that translates into 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 13 strikeouts. Now, Rachel Luba let us know that a lot of people have asked her to explain why they call it chocolates. In the Mexican Baseball League, strikeouts are referred to as chocolates. So the Bauer Chocolate Factory is what they're talking about. And I will tell you, there was another post on X talking about his stuff. He's got a 94.5 mile an hour fastball, 83.6 mile an hour slider, 82.1 mile an hour curveball, and his splitter is 87.2 miles per hour. They're talking about stuff plus. All of those pitches are over 100 stuff plus. You have 113, 121, 127. He also has a gyro at 86 miles per hour. He's got like 9 different pitches. The baseball doesn't even have enough names for the pitches that he has. He's doing excellent. That's enough on Bauer, but you know I have to update you since everybody else doesn't want to talk about him. Jared Jones, 140 swings and misses this season. That's the most by a pitcher in his first 8 career starts in the pitch tracking era. Yesterday, there was a question presented in the chat room about Jared Jones or Grayson Rodriguez in a dynasty league. Oh, please tell me. You're not going... Look, Jared Jones, excellent. Getting a lot of swings and misses. He has a higher strike percentage than any other Major League Baseball starter this year. He also has allowed 8 home runs this year, all right? 8 home runs and only 13 total runs allowed. Do you know what that tells me? Nearly every one of these home runs that he has allowed have been a solo home run. He is not going to continue pitching this well. I don't think he's going to be a better pitcher in the long run than Grayson Rodriguez. He's definitely not on a better team, which isn't to say that he can't be traded. Pittsburgh always seems to trade away their excellent pitchers. They traded away Garrett Cole. They traded away Glasnow. They traded away quite a few good pitchers. I'm sweating. I'm sweating, people. I don't know why. I'm sweating. Okay. I know, Chris from Cambridge. I just like to update you on what he's doing. You know what I mean? I think I'm very proud of what he's doing. He has been very resilient in the face of a lot of adversity. He has never changed his story once, and I just don't think that everybody should go out there believing all women, because there's plenty of them that are out to get money or something else. I think you should give people the benefit of the doubt. And I've been saying that since the beginning. I don't even know if I'd like the guy in person, okay? I think he's egotistical, immature. I think he's full of himself. But I also know that he's a great hard worker, and he loves pitching more than anything, and he just doesn't give up. So that respect deserves some credit. Now, I'm not going to say that Jared Jones is a bad pitcher. He's a good pitcher. He strikes out a lot of batters. But don't forget, he's allowing home runs like crazy, and he happens to be only allowing very many earned runs, and a lot of that is because these home runs are not with the bases loaded, but eventually they will be if he continues to allow this many home runs. It's not going to be great. Let's talk about a great youngster that's so fun to watch, okay, but I'm still not completely sold on him. Ellie De La Cruz. He's got multiple stolen bases in 3 straight games. He's got 25 stolen bases on the season, which is the second most person has only 16. So he leads the field in stolen bases already by 9. And it's still so early in the season. This guy is on pace to steal 100 bases. Nobody has stolen 100 bases since Vince Coleman did it in 1987. He stole 109 bases. So let's go, Ellie. You gotta love watching this kid. He's a little phenom, okay? Space City, I love it. Okay, well, the new ones are just as good as last year's. Those Astro Space City ones are good. All right. Yeah, we're going to talk about Paul Skeens. Matt Olson has played 493 consecutive games, dating all the way back to May 2nd of 2021. All right, that's great. So we'll give Matt Olson some love. Eddie Heckman, did you guess the Orioles leading the league in home runs? I hope you did. I feel you did. Shota Imanaga, 5 wins in 7 games. He's 5-0 with an ERA of 1.08. Paul Goldschmidt, first 35 games of the season. In 2022, he had a .321 average and a .397 on base percentage. In 2023, he had a .312 average and a .399 on base percentage. In 2024, Paul Goldschmidt has a .195 batting average and a .287 on base percentage. The first 35 games of the season, something is going on with Paul Goldschmidt. He's either hurt or he's done. I hate to break it to you, but I'm definitely not trading for no Paul Goldschmidt right now. No way. Also, between Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Gorman, and Dylan Carlson, they've combined for 48 at-bats and do not have a hit in May. They are 0 for 48 in May, and you need to have each and every one of these guys on your bench at this point. Nolan Gorman is a huge disappointment, but I was talking about this with King Hap, and after further investigation, I can't believe I even fell for this kid. He strikes out 30% of the time, and he always has, and he always will. I think I was just blinded by his 27 home runs last year. So, public service announcement of the day. Don't be blinded by 27 home runs. All right. Which team has the most quality starts so far this year? We already know Seattle, but Philly also has 22 quality starts, and Kansas City comes in second with 19 quality starts. The Dodgers in third with 18 quality starts, and then you go back down to the bottom into the basement dwellers, and you have Cleveland and Miami only have 8 quality starts on the season, while the Washington Nationals only have 7. Now, the Phillies' postseason probability on opening day was 55%. Today, the Phillies' postseason probability is 92%. Now, here is a hot hitter in Aaron Judge. I don't hear a lot of complaining on X from the Yankees fans, so I should have already known that Aaron Judge is doing good. He batted .455 with 3 home runs on their most recent homestand. So, Aaron Judge back in action, which is going to help the Yankees in tremendous ways. Now, Craig Kimbrell. The Orioles locked down a 4-2 win over the Diamondbacks, pulling to an American League best 25-12 record. The victory featured 4 1/3 scoreless innings from the bullpen behind the starter Cole Irvin. Now, Baltimore skipper, what's his name? I forgot his name. Hyde, right? Is it Hyde?
Yes.
Okay, the Baltimore skipper Hyde, he called Craig Kimbrell to pitch the 7th inning. This is what we call an effector because the team was holding down a 1-run lead in the 7th inning, and Craig Kimbrell came in and retired 3 in a row. And then Jacob Webb, Cionel Perez, and Yenier Cano followed in relief to secure the victory. Now, it's the first time this season that Kimbrell has entered the game before the 9th inning, and he failed to finish off save opportunities against the Reds and the Nationals in his previous 2 appearances. But when Hyde was asked whether Kimbrell was being pulled from the closer job, he responded that Kimbrell's role is day-to-day. So, actually, I would say yes. We don't know for sure that Craig Kimbrell is the closer. I don't know if that means that they're going to decide over the next couple outings or if they're going to do a closer by committee, which is kind of what they did yesterday because Kimbrell came in when the game was on the line, a high-leverage situation, and he got the job done. So, he didn't come out there all pissed off because he came... He didn't come out there all pissed off with a chip on his shoulder because they put him in the 7th inning. He got the job done, which speaks a lot for him, right? With his mound presence, he did his job no matter what the inning was. But we'll see because Hyde did not guarantee that Kimbrell is still their closer. Chris Bryant took batting practice prior to yesterday's game. Bryant began the season cautiously, okay? Cautiously. He just got the ball out of the infield to start off his workout, but then he was able to pull the ball over the fence by his final swings, which is a positive sign in Chris Bryant's recovery. Why do we keep talking about Chris Bryant? That's because Lenny still likes this guy, okay? Lenny still likes Chris Bryant. Probably has him on multiple teams. I love the chat room. You guys are doing a great job. You're doing just a great job. Everybody's chatting away, and that's what we love. Taj Bradley, in his first start of the season, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, an 11.8% swinging strike rate. He's still just 36% owned on Yahoo, and he should be considered one of the priority starting pitcher pickups. We've moved into FAAB targets now. He should be one of the highest priority starting pitcher pickups on the wire right now. He's got the upside of a top 25 starting pitcher. He took the loss against the Yankees, but he was excellent, okay? This is his first start since he suffered a pectoral strain in spring training. So his season debut, the lone run on an Anthony Rizzo 2-out RBI single in the 4th inning, but he got stuck with the loss because the Rays did not score at all. Talk about run support or lack thereof, okay? 0 runs. Now, Bradley made 21 starts for Tampa last year, going 5-8. He had a 5.59 ERA. He's currently slated to face the Red Sox on the road in his next outing. Reese Olson is an interesting guy. He's 0-4, and I was going to talk about Reese Olson today, but I always go through my own leagues and see if there's any leagues where a player is not owned currently, and Reese Olson is owned in every one of my leagues, so I left him off. But if he's available in your leagues, absolutely, Reese Olson is an interesting guy. Go take a look at his underlying stats. I do think that Reese Olson will figure it out. But Bradley got screwed yesterday with 0 runs support from the Rays. Paul Skeens, Pittsburgh Pirates. He's owned by everybody, but I still have to bring him up just in case, because the thing about my leagues, some of my leagues, are that you can't, unless he got drafted, you can't pick up a pitcher or a player until he's played in at least one MLB game, which makes Paul Skeens available in several of my leagues, right? Before he got called up, the news started to hit social media, and he was hold on. He made his okay. Let's see what did he make his major league? Did he make his debut yesterday, Leonard?
I think he was supposed to.
Now, somebody put in the chat room what he did yesterday. I forgot to check it out. Maybe it's today. Because
Saturday.
I think he's making his major league debut today. And that's the thing. Anybody that does not or anybody that has the same settings in your league as those NFBC leagues that I play in, where if he wasn't drafted, he can't be drafted until he plays in one major league game. You hope and pray that Paul Skeens gets his ass kicked today. Because if he does, his price will go down. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go down by much, because he's the phenom of the world. In fact, it is a little surprising that he wasn't drafted in more of my NFBC leagues to begin with. And, you know, Lenny's good friend Erwin, in case Erwin is listening, which I love Erwin. He always gives me great constructive criticism that helps me get better at podcasting. I appreciate Erwin a lot. This guy called us up and wanted to talk about a trade offer that he received, which was Dansby Swanson and someone else for Paul Skeens. And it was at a point in time when Paul Skeens had not yet ever pitched 6 innings in his career. Okay, now he has since been stretched out to pitch 6 innings. One time he did it. 6 1/3 innings. So, yes, they're stretching him out. Yes, he's ready to pitch. He's another youngster for the Pittsburgh Pirates, right? You got him on. Now, if he does anything like Jared Jones is doing, he's going to be worth every penny. 7 starts, okay, a .99 ERA, a .091 whip. Struck out 45 hitters in 27 1/3 innings at the minor leagues. I told you he's gone 6 innings in just one of those turns, but look at what he's doing. He's still going crazy. Before the rumors started to hit X that he was getting called up, he was at 6% rostership in Yahoo leagues. Now he's at 80%. So a lot of these Yahoo leagues let you pick up anytime you want and drop anytime you want, which is, I love those kind of leagues, but you could get yourself in trouble in those leagues too. Anyway, Paul Skeens, yes, he's coming up. Yes, he's exciting. Tommy Johnson is our resident Pittsburgh Pirates insider. He says he just hopes the hype is real, considering the last thing you want to do is hype a guy up and things don't go so well at first. And I think a lot of the reason that things don't go so well at first is because of all the hype. So, I mean, you see the hype on these youngsters, and it doesn't necessarily make them great at the beginning because there's just too much expectations for these young guys.
SM King Third says trade Skeens now.
Turd says trade Skeens now. Amazing. And Turd is the king of the trades. He just about every morning he tells me all the trades that he made the day before. This guy, see, I don't think we would mesh great in leagues because I just can't deal with all of the negotiating and the back and forth and stuff. But, if you like it and it makes fantasy baseball fun for you, then by all means. And I'll tell you what, damn Turd pulls off some of the best trades. I just can't believe it. He lost Spencer Strider. He lost... Put the list in the chat room of the pitchers that you've lost and who you've been able to replace him with. And he was, a lot of these people look at it and say, my dang season is over when I lose guys like Garrett Cole, Spencer Strider. Some of the top pitchers in baseball have gone down. And what does Turd do? He just goes out there and he finds replacements and he gets the job done. Jack Leiter, he is 15% owned in Yahoo leagues. Now, the thing is about that is that I think that there's a lot of people stashing Jack Leiter. He has not started the season very good. And if you've got these fantasy people that are, recency bias and all of this, fair weather fans, Jack Leiter started the season horrible. In fact, currently his ERA sits at 12.91. His WHIP is over 2. He got rocked for 7 runs in 3 2/3 innings in Detroit on April 18th. And on the second time around, on May 8th, which was only 2 days ago, he lasted only 4 innings. He allowed 6 dang runs, even though 4 of them were earned. 7 hits, no walks, and he struck out 3. Now, it doesn't really matter whether or not he earned another shot in the rotation because he's going to get it anyway. Dane Dunning and Nathan Eovaldi are both injured. Now, he's going to get to pitch at home for the first time next week. They're going to host Cleveland at home, and he will have the opportunity to pitch at home. It doesn't take much to go look at what he's done in the minors. He was good in the minors. Now, it does say that he's at AAA right now, but with Dane Dunning and Eovaldi injured, I don't know why he would be at AAA at this point. Turd, do you know anything about that? Tell me about Jack Leiter. Yeah, he was sent down, but they have 2 injuries, so is he going to get called back up, or are they just going to leave him down there? Ivan Herrera, St. Louis Cardinals, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, owned in about 80% of my leagues. He's batting .239 with 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 8 runs scored. Now, you saw Wilson Contreras get hit by J.D. Martinez batting in his backswing. I don't know who the mastermind idiot was to tell him to... Look, they're so intrigued by having their catchers steal strikes by framing their pitches better that they tell them to sit so close to the backswing, and they're just bound to get hurt. This Wilson Contreras injury did not need to happen. It did. So he went down on May 7th. Now, Ivan Herrera is considered, or he's on the depth charts as the number 1 catcher for St. Louis right now, but he also does bat DH, and he slates in at cleanup when he's batting DH. He started just 2 of the last 4 games, but that is going to change dramatically. He's 3 for 7. He can't hit lefties, so don't be surprised if he sits against lefties. In fact, he only hits barely 200 against lefties, while against righties he bats .260. Lamont Wade Jr., San Francisco Giants, 13% owned in Yahoo. He's 30 years old. He's batting .341 with 1 home run, 12 RBIs, 12 runs scored, and a stolen base. This is a guy like Gio Urshela, who I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes. He's great for batting average, and don't take batting average for granted. He is usually in the lineup. No, he's always in the lineup against right-handed pitcher. And he just has 9 of his 106 at-bats against left-handed pitching. So for those of you playing in weekly transaction league, it makes it a little tougher to have Lamont Wade on your team. When he's facing righties, though, he bats .338 with an .893 OPS. He also has a strikeout to walk rate of 27-18, which is very respectable. Since May 3rd, he's played in 8 games. That's 22 at-bats. He has 9 hits, batting .409 with a .567 on-base percentage, 1 run, and 4 RBIs, and that is also with 8 walks. So as you could tell by his on-base percentage, over 500, he is good. He's good like Gio Urshela is good. And I'm going to tell you this, and don't forget it. Your batting average, or if you play in on-base percentage leagues, one or the two, this is a category. It's just as much of a category as home runs. It's just as much of a category as stolen bases. And I will tell you one thing. Right now in the season, your batting average can be affected immensely by going out there and finding some guy who has some flashy 5 stolen bases, even though his batting average is 198. Sure, you'll get a couple stolen bases out of the guy, but it's not worth it. His batting average will bring your batting average down. As I mentioned, you don't have enough at-bats in the season yet to even it out. So if you don't want to fall in one category while gaining or just barely hanging in there on another, just say, okay, look, do not let your batting average get too out of control, because later in the season, the easiest way to move up is to target these counting stats such as runs, RBIs, home runs, stolen base. In fact, with stolen bases, it is the easiest category to move up in, because there's always going to be a guy that can steal you bases, and a lot of times his batting average is just terrible. So don't hesitate to pick up a guy like Gio Urshela or Lamont Wade if you're in need of this position. Do not go after the 195 batting average. Mark my words, it will harm you. Jonathan Singleton, could he be considered one of these guys? Yes, possibly, okay? 227 batting average, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 10 RBIs and 11 runs scored. Now, Joey Loperfido got a lot of the attention because he was coming up to the big leagues, but it was Singleton who started at first base after Jose Abreu went down to the minors. He went 6 for 20 in his first 6 games. Following Abreu's demotion, he hit 3 home runs in that span. He's hit in the middle to the bottom half of the Astros lineup. First base is not that deep this year, and since May 1st, Jonathan Singleton, a 207 batting average. There you go with that, okay? But he does have 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 6 runs scored. Abraham Toro only owned 14% of Yahoo leagues. He hits for the Oakland A's. He plays second base and third base. He's eligible at both second and third base. He went just 8 for 18 with 3 runs and 2 RBIs in a 4-game series against the Rangers, but he hit leadoff in 3 of those games. And before that, he had a 4-game streak with multi-hit games from April 30th to May 4th, scoring 6 times and driving in 4. He's batting .289, 3 home runs. This is where it gets great. He's racking up the RBIs and the runs scored. 15 RBIs, 18 runs scored, 3 home runs, and a stolen base. He plays second and third base. Luis Garcia, I love this guy. I happen to pick this guy up, and I love him, okay? He's batting .318, 3 home runs, 20 RBIs, 9 runs scored, and 7 stolen bases. Now, since May 2nd, he's played in 7 games. He is 10 for 25, that's a 400 batting average, a 483 on base percentage, 2 home runs, 5 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, and 9 RBIs. Garcia has moved up in the lineup. He's batting third in the last 5 starts. Now, middle infielders always in need on fantasy rosters, especially now if you own Rengifo. Garcia, at the very least, is a stash and someone to play against right-handers since he bats .354 against them. Andy Ibanez is only 2% owned in Yahoo leagues. .349 batting average on the season, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 9 runs scored, and 1 stolen bases. This is what's great about him. Last year, he played 4 games at first, 77 games at second, 16 games at third, and 21 in the outfield, so he is guaranteed to qualify at least second base and outfield, but in some leagues, he'll qualify also at third base. Now, returning from the injured list on April 30th, because he was sidelined with a hamstring injury. Since he came back, he's been hitting at or near the top of the lineup, okay? On May 7th in Cleveland, he hit 2 home runs. Now, those are his only 2 home runs on the season, so don't get all crazy on me in this one. He went 4 for 4, scored 4 runs, and drove in 4. Now, he mostly hits against lefties, but the Tigers are like any other team, okay? If he's going to continue hitting, he's going to continue playing. All right. Brett Beatty, New York Mets, 11% owned in Yahoo leagues. He went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs on May 3rd in Tampa Bay. Now, he's still doing more of his damage against right-handed pitchers, but he is batting .273 against righties, and he only bats .200 against lefties. That's been his problem for a while, but he's been in the lineup regularly, and his 26 strikeouts and 10 walks is a decent average. Since May 1st, Brett Beatty is 7 for 29 with 2 home runs, 5 runs scored, 4 RBIs, and a .241 batting average with a .313 on-base percentage. Now, I already told you I was going to talk about Gio Urshela a little bit. Gio Urshela, 32-year-old, not flashy, not great, not expected to do a lot in the home run or the stolen base category. He's actually injured right now. Boston Paul brought him up to me, said he could be a sneaky ad for people this coming week because he should be added. He should be in the lineup on Monday. He's been on the injured list since April 20th due to a strained right hamstring. He's now been given the go-ahead to test his hamstring in a competitive setting. He should be activated Monday ahead of the Detroit Tigers' upcoming series against the Marlins. One great thing about Urshela is that he qualifies at first base and third base in every league. He played 22 games at first, 1 game at second, 37 games at third, and 9 games at shortstop last year. He bats right at about the 5, 6, or 7 spot in the order. So he's not batting at the bottom of the order, and he does have good plate discipline. Like I mentioned before, don't get crazy stuck on the home runs and the stolen bases. Your batting average counts just as much as home runs, and it counts just as much as stolen bases in a roto league. One more guy, and then we're done, which puts me right at 10 a.m., which is a great day. Johnny DeLuca, Tampa Bay Rays, only 20% owned in Yahoo leagues. He started the year on the injured list. He's an outfielder, and he did not make his debut till May 3rd. 2 days later, he started a 3-game streak where he went 6 for 11 with 1 home run, 2 runs scored, and 7 RBIs. Now, from May 3rd, he's played in all 7 games. He's gone 7 for 24 with a .292 batting average, a .370 on base percentage, 10 RBIs, okay? 3 runs scored, 1 home run, and 2 stolen bases. Now, the Rays are likely to mix and match lineups based on the pitcher, so look for him to sit on occasion. He's an upside play in daily leagues when he is in the lineup, and like I mentioned, in the last 7, he's been in the games every day for the past week. Since May 3rd, he's played in every game, and he's starting to move up in the order. He started out batting 8th and 9th every day, and the last 3 days, he's batted 5, 6, or 7. Okay, so if he continues to hit this way, he will continue to be in the lineup. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I just appreciate you so much for coming in and just chatting baseball the whole dang time. We have such a fun time here. Lenny and I just think of you all as our friends and family. Laura, great, wonderful to see you every day. And the rest of you, I hope you enjoy this beautiful Mother's Day Saturday, and don't forget your moms tomorrow.